Hi everyone, I'm Katrina, your linguist founder from Linga and Linga Plus. At Linga, we train languages, cultures, and soft skills, and Linga Plus, we provide professional development for teachers. And well, in English, I'm Kate or Catherine. You may know why if you watched the video about why to change names for languages. Today, I'd like to dive into a question whether it's possible, whether it's beneficial to learn multiple languages at the same time. And as a person who's learned different languages through the span of my life, I must admit that certainly you can learn multiple languages at the same time. However, you need to consider, well, such questions as what's your motivation behind it? Why would you like to do it? Also, what are you going to do next? Do you have any specific goals there, any timeline? And also, how are you going to incorporate some cultural aspects into your learning? For instance, when I was doing one of my bachelor's, like one of my degrees, I had to learn simultaneously, well, Spanish, Italian, and also progressing in linguistics in English. And as you can guess, quickly I ran into the problem of mixing up languages, specifically Spanish and Italian. I would say if you're learning similar languages from the same linguistic group, for instance, Romance languages, right, or Germanic languages, it could be to your benefit because at the very beginning, it's so easy. It feels indeed as if you already had the base, the foundation. I typically say if you speak, say, Spanish, then Italian, French, Portuguese, Romanian, travel language from that particular group would be already at your A2, B1 level. You know what I mean? Because you have very similar grammar constructions, vocabulary with slight changes, rules, um, and it's extremely helpful at the very beginning, especially if you studied Latin even a little bit. It's helpful both for Romance and Germanic languages. However, as soon as you reach, I would say, B1, B2 level, that's where all the troubles begin. Why so? Because at that level, when you're already feeling quite, frivolous with the use of both languages, you must start feeling stuck. At least that's what started happening to me back in time. Um, and in order to separate those languages, especially those similarities, right, those nuances, let's say you need to consciously separate them into separate boxes. I had a situation when I had an exam in Spanish, like at high level, and simultaneously I was preparing for entrance exams in Italian. I had to stop speaking Italian for a week or almost a couple of weeks to concentrate on Spanish in order not to contaminate my Spanish with Italian. And as soon as I passed my Spanish exam, I had to switch, right, and focus on Italian in order not to produce Spagnolino. And that helped. And the conscious kind of decoupling, right, like the separation of two languages, this level helps. And what's beautiful about it, that when at the start, you have all the tools, right, all the foundation, you can progress really fast. In my case, it took me like 3 months, but I was studying every day. I have my own methodology that I've described as well in the books, and that's what we are also trying to do at Amalingua, following that way. Then with Portuguese, it was a little bit harder because Portuguese, well, depending, português de Portugal, Portugal puxado, yeah, or brasileiro, mas aperto. So there it was a little bit more difficult because I touched down as Portuguese when I was studying in Spain in Galicia, and in Galicia, Gallego is spoken. And imagine learning a language while studying in another foreign language that you kind of get, but you don't know. And it took me quite a while to learn that actually in Portuguese, say thank you would be obrigado, obrigada, not gracinhas, because yeah, in Gallego, so it's gracinhas. And the difficulty was with spoken Portuguese. Spoken Portuguese sounded like Polish to me. Because I also yeah, speak Polish, so my grandma Polish. So for me, when I heard for the first time, I thought, oh, I kind of get it. Like I understand. Not everybody understand. And at the same time, it's just so weird because suddenly you realize that actually it's not a Slavic language, it's a Romance language. And then, of course, reading and writing, it was very easy, um, especially when I was ignorant about, certain tenses, certain grammar constructions in Spanish. Like my Spanish was intermediate when I started reading books in Portuguese. Well, I didn't know that it was in Portuguese. It was really funny when I was reading Twilight in Portuguese. Like I thought I was reading in Spanish, but it was in Portuguese. Um, Therefore, I would say that when you approach a language where phonetical system, yes, the pronunciation system is slightly different, perhaps includes more sounds, you need to pay more attention in this case of pronunciation. But again, it's not that difficult as soon as you get all the structures and rules. And then French, well, French, much harder because of all these unnecessary letters. However, again, very similar. Like I would say, I would group them like Spanish, Portuguese, and like Italian and French. For me, I had to learn French in Italy, also study in France. And it was a little bit of a disaster, I would say, because for some reason in the Italian system, they were explaining French in Italian instead of actually totally switching to French and sharing with the pronunciation and all. And I felt awful because pronunciation was my weakest sport. I'm feeling much better about it right now, but still, you know, how to pronounce what you read. Um, and here again with French, looking at the vocabulary, looking at the constructions, you can find all the hints from other Romance languages, which is fascinating. Therefore, I would say, even like with this example, you can definitely learn multiple languages simultaneously. But then, as soon as you reach a certain level, as I say, around B2, like high intermediate, upper intermediate, there where you need to pay a lot of attention. Same with Germanic languages, right? Have English, German, but then Dutch, Swedish, Norwegian, so go to Scandinavian languages, and they're also so similar at certain level. Therefore, it's good to be very conscious about the differences, like in all the similarities. You may ask me also about exotic languages, whether it's possible to learn an exotic language and a European language at the same time. Of course, you can. There is you're training your brain, your cognitive abilities, skills, yeah, cognitive skills. I had a situation when I was reviewing my French and I was learning Chinese. I was preparing for a World Memory Championship in China. I was like, oh yeah, this is like great excuse. Um, the issue for me with that was that my brain had to, let's say, shift in its perception of information, visual information. I don't know if it has happened to you if you've been learning one of exotic languages, Asian languages specifically, it's different yeah, system, like characters, hieroglyphs, um, where suddenly you start seeing letters as characters, as hieroglyphs. I think I must make another video on that. But at some point, I felt I was going crazy. But as soon as my brain kind of shifted, recalibrated, it was much easier. And I feel that when you approach exotic languages, your logic that you held with European languages should shift in a way, should shift, like, be ready to embrace something completely logical on an existent yeah, in your language. Something similar, maybe even Slavic languages, but again, Slavic languages coming from the Indo-European family, very similar logic and even some of the key vocabulary. Obviously, when we look with you at Sanskrit, and then we're going to Hindi, and then and then I mentioned yeah, Polish or Russian, Belarusian. So any of these languages will still find sort of similarities and similar logic. Well, when you look at other languages like Chinese or Thai Vietnamese, um, there you'll notice that the logic may be completely different. And it's okay. So, where I'm going with all this, answering the question whether it's possible to learn multiple languages at the same time. Yes, it's possible. And it can be even productive, especially if you have a pressing event that you need to attend and you need to speak at least some of this language or languages. However, as I've been sharing in all the past videos, for me, what's important is a holistic approach. Now, I would actually say it's better to concentrate on one language, but not just one language, but its culture, its socioeconomic situation, sociocultural context. Go immerse yourself in that language. Could be even like from your home, listening to podcasts, books, news, radio, watching movies, diving into a fascinating world of untranslatable words or idioms, set phrases, and then if you have a chance, go to the country to feel it, how it is actually in their like in the shoes of the citizen of that country. Get aligned socially, psychologically, emotionally. Emotions, yeah, big topic. And then after, switch to another language. So I feel that it worked for me more when I was focusing on certain languages, excluding other languages, even though now with work, like every day I have to communicate in five, six languages. Actually, it depends, where I am. Um, if it's certain event, it could be even more. But I feel that it's important to pay attention not only to cognitive skills, not only to words, grammar, pronunciation, but to many more other aspects of language learning, not just learning, language living, culture living. And I do hope that you find joy in this. Because after all, it's not about achievements, oh, how many languages you have learned at all, how well you speak it, but also how well you live it, how well you feel it. What happens to you when you switch to that language and you communicate with people in that language. And about that, we'll talk more in other videos. Um, like, subscribe, comment, share your experiences. We want to learn more about you and stay tuned. Bye.